Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. Back to the games. Carolina Panthers, upset of the day here, 16-13 over the Green Bay Packers. Panthers move to 5-4. Packers fall to 5-2-1. Walk-off game-winning field goal for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the upset of the day because there were a few of them, but it was certainly one of them. Carolina
Spread was 10.
Yeah, it was a big.
lot.
It was a big spread, and it was a game that I don't think many people, even considered the idea that Carolina might win it. But I think you saw the power of simply keeping the game script in a neutral spot. Like Carolina, we'd said this, for every time they got beat bad, they put themselves in a hole early with turnovers. Bryce Young would just drop the football. Weird things would happen, and then they're not a good enough football team to be able to come back from a double-digit type of point differential. When they're in a hole, they're probably staying in the hole. But this was a game where they never got in a hole. They were always in a pretty good situation during the game, and Green Bay didn't really fire. And so Carolina just kept turning the screw, putting the pressure on them, and it worked. I mean, Green Bay kind of wilted under the pressure.
We talk a lot about, try to control the clock so that you keep the other team off the field or whatever it might be. And in a game, I can't remember the exact average, but most teams average, say, 9 or 10 possessions in a game. You have a game like a few weeks ago, the Texans had 14 against Seattle and just couldn't score. You have other games where a team might have 8. Both teams had 7 possessions. So if you're Carolina, you're double-digit underdogs in this game. And if you could draw it up, you would say, in a game where you're overmatched on paper, you want to have 7 possessions each instead of 10, right?
Yeah.
And they did a nice job. 70-yard drive early on, a 71-yard drive. They have 2 drives of over 70 yards combining for 25 plays in the first half. That's how you shorten the entire game. So that was a key part in this game. The wind was a factor in this game. The Bryce Young interception, I don't know if that just got caught up in the wind, and this is why I emphasize the weather thing really matters, man. It really matters if you're going to evaluate quarterbacks or you're going to evaluate a lot of us just look at stat lines. So many people just look at stat lines like, this quarterback sucks. And this is a bad throw by Bryce Young. He tries to throw a fade. It looks like he missed it 5 yards inside. I assume it got caught up in the wind. I mean, it's his own fault, but you still have to factor that in when we're evaluating these things. So the wind was a factor. After the game, they showed Dave Canales saying, hey, we took the ball. We decided to receive in the first half so that in the second half, we would have the choice of which direction we want to go to. We want to have the wind at our back in the fourth quarter. And that was what led. The wind was listed at 15 miles an hour before the game. We've talked to NFL teams before where if the wind, and again, it's a weather report at 1 p.m. That can obviously change. But we've talked to NFL teams where if the wind gets to 18, that was like the magic cutoff. They would throw the game plan out and have a backup game plan. Now, I don't know if that's the right analysis or not, but when you're in that 15, 18 miles an hour or higher,
it's notable.
It's notable enough that it affects the pass game. And so the Panthers receiving the ball, so just so people know how this works, it's not like Madden necessarily. When you receive the ball in the first, you're choosing in the first half and you're choosing in the second half whether you want the ball or not. So when the Panthers say, we want the ball in the first half, then the Packers say, we want to defend this side. Then you choose in the second, and then the Packers have their choice in the second half to say, we want to kick or receive. Well, of course you're going to receive, right? Because you already kicked in the first half. And then the Panthers get to choose which way they want to go in the second half. It's 2 different, theoretically you choose at the beginning of both halves. So the Panthers set it up so that they could choose in the second half to have the wind. And Greg Olsen brought all this up on the broadcast because that's what he does, is bring up sharp points. And that ended up, not saying that was the difference in the game, but clearly being able to set up a game-winning field goal with a wind in a significant wind game was a great job by the Panthers.
It was. I mean, they won a game where Bryce Young had 102 passing yards and an interception.
In the red zone, a red zone interception.
Yeah, and I think you're right that it probably held up in the wind. I think it was a bad pass anyway. And also, Xavier Legette wasn't open. It gets sort of undercut by the safety who comes across and intercepts it. Leggett, a giant, big red zone type of target, was getting bodied by.
Did he
was it Keyshawn Nixon?
Did he veer off his route that much?
I think he was just getting beaten on the fade. Like the corner had him covered, and it wasn't open, and it looked even more ridiculous because he got driven further wide, and then the safety undercuts an underthrown pass, and it's like the whole thing looks ridiculous. But yeah, Leggett, who'd been sort of a breakout receiver the last couple of weeks, I thought was getting bodied on that play and just was not winning in the red zone. There were a bunch of little plays went Carolina's way in the game. Like you got the early fumble from Xavion Williams, the rookie Green Bay receiver, where that was another one where it's like it's a receiver screen or something. They tackle him, but it, like late in the down, like they've got him stacked up, and a guy comes in, punches the ball out, and it's loose on the ground. They get that turnover. Green Bay missed a field goal in the game. Just a bunch of little things all broke Carolina's way again to keep them ahead and in the game and turning the screw on Green Bay. Huge thing for the Packers. Tucker Kraft goes down on just a freak. Like he's coming across the formation to block and ends up sort of basically just running into a pile of bodies and immediately goes down clutching his knee in significant pain. That's a body blow for them as a hugely important loss.
Yeah, huge loss for the Packers. That was a tough one. Game story-wise, too, I would say Packers were 1 for 5 in the red zone.
Which had been a strength of theirs. Yeah. Both sides. A week ago, they were top 5 in red zone performance on both offense and defense.
So when we talk about, like, game flow-wise, the Panthers saying, having 7 possessions each team, a wind game that kind of compresses things, bend but don't break defense. A lot of that added up for Carolina. Then the run game, like Rico Dowdle making huge runs when they needed to.
He's a beast again.
Yeah.
He's so good. And so Chuba Hubbard, I think, is by far their sort of second best running back at this point. He's being dramatically outperformed by Rico Dowdle. However, Chuba Hubbard saved a turnover for them. Micah Parsons gets a strip sack on Bryce Young. Chuba Hubbard dives on the football, keeps it alive. Like those are important plays in a game like this where it's razor edge, 16-13 in the final. It's a field goal difference. You need to keep those. You can't turn the ball over like that. So huge play for Hubbard.
Especially when turnovers, every Panthers loss this year was like 2 first-half turnovers.
Right, exactly.
In every single game. And it was like, no, only one this time. Bryce Young interception, and they saved it. Saved the one fumble. EPA per play. How about this stat, Sam? I know we usually use red zone cutoffs, but because it made my story better. The Packers' EPA per play outside the 30-yard line. So we'll call it, is that the gray zone? 30-yard line, they were 0.3 EPA per play, which is very, very good. That's outstanding offense. Inside the 30-yard line, minus 0.39 EPA per play. It's the story of the game. Well, it's the stuff you can't predict on a Thursday going in. Hey, just be great in the red zone.
You say that's the story of the game. I would like to draw your attention to, by far, I think, the biggest officiating controversy in the NFL this season, which is Rico Dowdle scores a touchdown, celebrates with the hip thrust, pumps just twice, not 3 times, and they throw a flag anyway.
Is that an NFL rule or merely a skit?
It's been the NFL's policy that it's the third pump that gets you done. Now, Adam Azier, this is an actual Rico Dowdle quote. From my understanding and everything I've learned, we go over stuff like this every week in the meeting room. I definitely think you're supposed to get 2 pumps, Dowdle said. Hopefully I don't get a fine. Wow. So the NFL has just randomly and with no...
egregious. That's egregious.
With no, what's the word I'm looking for here? The due process. With no due process, has just decided we're going to take a pump off. And that's when the flag's coming out. I don't think we should stand for that.
No, it's embarrassment for the league. It's embarrassment for the league. Can't have that.
Can't have it.
Justice for Rico is what we need.
You don't want to know, this came up in the game.
Can they not count?
I don't know.
That should be reviewable.
I don't know if it should be it should be, yes. You should be able to review it. At the very minimum, it's one of those things where Carolina should be able to, you can launch like an appeal to the league. You write in, you'd be like, dude, what happened on this play? And the league has to say, yeah, you're right. We dropped the ball on that one. Carolina, if they're not sending off an angry worded letter,
Eric's doctoring up a video as we speak. He's like, watch this. Number 1, Number two.
We had
over.
2, but not 3 pumps. We demand a written apology from NFL officiating. I don't know what's happening.
In fact, the officials should be fined, and the money should go to Rico.
Damn right. This came up in this game, and I couldn't believe this was true. And it's still, it's not a great time to bring it up because they lost the game. But apparently, Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers all won the championship game. It was pre-Super Bowl for Bart Starr when they were 27 years old. What age is Jordan Love this season?
27.
Correct. How insane would that be if all 4 Hall of Fame, 3 Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks, and then the guy succeeding them, all win a championship in their age 27 season? That's one of the most absurd stats of all time if that ends up coming to pass.
Again, one of the hardest things about football analysis is when like the random
Black
unrelated
magic
thing happens. That was like the old Giants winning the Super Bowl against the Patriots twice. It's like, no way they do this twice as heavy underdogs when they shouldn't be. Nope, they did.
But
both
2
times.
times, I mean, once anything can happen once. 2 times is, well, that's interesting, but it's probably insignificant. What it's like 4 times across 50 years, that's insane.
Just how the Packers operate. Consistency with the Packers. Unlike the NFL, throwing that flag.
With a 2-pump random crackdown.
Can we make this a little tradition too? Can I get on a Panthers victory Monday, can I get a Dowdle out of you? Can we get a Dowdle shout? Because Rico Dowdle he recovered from the penalty and had the long run to set up the eventual game-winning field
I don't
goal.
think you can do it on command. It needs to be a spontaneous Dowdle,
Oh.
I don't think you can just command one.
I thought you could pull it out at will.
Yeah, the level of excitement in that Dowdle call, it's not a manufactured thing. You've got to be in the moment.
Anything else on this one?
Nope. Congratulations to the doctor, the great Dr. Eric Eager and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
What a win.
5-4 Panthers, and then it's just going to be an absolute mess at the top of the NFC.
That division's kind of chaos, other than Tampa Bay, looking decent. But, like Carolina is fast joining Atlanta to being 2 of the most confusing teams in the NFL. This was the statement game that they were looking for against Buffalo. It didn't happen then because they got themselves in a hole early and couldn't get out of it. But they then come back against Green Bay and deliver it.
They have Bryce Young back. Packers move to fall to 5-2-1.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.